Okay, that's better. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our February 4th regular County Council meeting. I will call our meeting to order and we'll start with our roll call. So in Cavan Monaghan, Mayor Graham.
Present.
And Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Good morning.
And Duro Dummer, Mayor Watson. And Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Present.
In Asphodel Norwood, we have Mayor Wilford.
Present.
And I think Asphodel Norwood's being bad. They're smiling too much over here. Deputy Mayor. Good morning. Havelock Belmont Bethune, we have Mayor Martin.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Webb.
Here.
And online, we have Trent Lake's Mayor Amiot.
Well, North Kawartha.
North Kawartha, sorry, why did I do that? North Kawartha.
Good morning.
And Deputy Mayor Whalen.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. In Otonabee South Monaghan, we have Mayor Taylor.
Here.
And myself, Deputy Mayor Clark. And in Selwyn, we have the Deputy Warden and Mayor Senes. Present. And Deputy Mayor Black.
Present.
And in Trent Lakes, we have Mayor Lambshead.
I am present, and we certainly would welcome Commissioner.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
And present.
Thank you. Very good. We'll start with our land acknowledgement.
With deep respect, we acknowledge the lands and interconnected waterways that bind us together, the foundation for all life. These lands serve as a keeper of history and stories and are a source of inspiration. In recognizing this, we embrace that all living things possess an important energy and purpose. We extend the utmost gratitude to the original peoples who have been caretakers of these lands and waters of this region from time immemorial, and to this day who continue this commitment. Peterborough County's dedication to reconciliation remains steadfast. In this spirit, we are committed to nurturing meaningful partnerships and connections that contribute to an environment of prosperity and well-being for all generations to come. This acknowledgement is made on the Treaty 20 land and the territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe, and within the traditional lands of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nations. Further, our gratitude is extended to the nations of Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Rama, and Scugog Island.
We will now have a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt our agenda, please? And moved by Councillor Graham and seconded by Deputy Warden Senes. All in favor? Thank you. Does any councillor have a declaration of pecuniary interest on any agenda item? If so, please disclose your interest and the nature of it. And I see none. We have our minutes from December 17th, seems eons away, moved by Councillor Wilford and second by Councillor Black. All in favor? Thank you. Consent items. I'll ask the clerk to pull item 8F from the consent agenda. So we will pull the section that from the consent that will be dealt with separately. Does anyone have anything else from the consent that they would like to discuss? And I see nothing online. So 8F, it is the warden's designated appointment to the Lang Pioneer Village Museum Advisory Committee. Councillor Amiot advised she could no longer act as a designate on the Lang Advisory. We thank her for the service and dedication on that committee. So I did send a note to members asking if there was any interest. And I am pleased to advise that Councillor Nelson has accepted the invitation to sit on the Lang Advisory Committee as the warden's designate. And could I have a motion then to confirm that appointment, please? I see Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Taylor. All in favor? Thank you. So that's fine. Now a motion for the remaining consent items. And I see Councillor Watson and Councillor Webb. All in favor? Thank you. So staff reports. And we'll ask Rhonda Keenan, General Manager for Economic Development, to come and speak on the Grow Economic Development Plan. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Ward and County Council. I'm pleased to recommend that the adoption of the Grow Economic Development Plan for Peterborough County this morning. You'll recall that I did present this draft Grow Plan in October. Council directed that the plan should go back out to consult with the business community to ensure that we have the business community backing and support for this plan. And I'm pleased to see that we held 3 roundtables with 20 active participants from the business community. That was led by staff at the Peterborough Kawarthas Chamber of Commerce. We also want to thank the comms team for getting us set up on the Engage platform. We had over 235 visits. And over 8 weeks, we promoted the plan at events such as the TD Economic Outlook, where we had a lot of input from business. The good news is that we received significant positive feedback on the plan. They felt it was pragmatic and it was moving in the right direction. Much of the work that was identified in those work plans have been included in our 2026 work plan and budget. We have a focus of supporting local business first, growing our key sectors, strengthening collaboration with townships and partners, enhancing our real estate opportunities, and improving investment readiness. There does continue to be concern about workforce in the community, rural transportation, and then the competitive tourism space that we operate in with limited funding to have that global presence. So these are very large challenges and concerns, but we are making efforts step by step to address those locally. And so we recognize that our plan, the Grow Plan, is operating in an ever-changing global economy, and we consider this to be a living document with support from the EDAC Committee of Council to help guide the direction. So the recommendation before you is that the Grow Plan be adopted, and further that staff be directed to build and implement annual work plans to advance and support the Grow Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'll open it up for any questions. Yes, Deputy Warden Sennis.
Thank you. I'll move the motion.
Okay, and seconder and Councillor Whalen. All in favor? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Councillor Armstrong, hold that and speaking to the
Thanks so
motion.
much, Warden
Yeah.
Clark. And I've said this before, I just want to raise it again. It's a very good report. The measures are there and they're very specific, but they're really activity measures. How many roundtables did we have? How many meetings did we have? How many workshops did we have? And all of that's important, obviously, to driving economic development. But I really do think there need to be some output measures. How many businesses do we have? Are they growing or shrinking? How much revenue are they getting? Is it growing or shrinking? What is our unemployment rate and is it getting better? Are people able to hire? So those kinds of output measures, I think, are really critical in determining whether we've had the impact we want with the activities that we're undertaking. Otherwise, and I'm not good at analogies, but I did think of this. It's kind of like, if your kid tells you, yeah, Mom, I've been studying for that test. They spent 5 hours in the library. And as I was in the study group for so long, the question is, kid, did you pass the test? Right. So we need to measure outcomes. So somewhere that needs to be built into.
Thank you for that question. To that point, Rhonda, around businesses, some will share and some will not share. So that is, something, are you expanding but we're not, some are very, keep that information. So, in that vein, I would, we recognize that as well when asking you that. Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Warden. Through you, just building on Councillor Armstrong's comments in regards to I think the focus on business friendly and the combination with that and a real estate readiness is important. I think one of the things that I'd like to see, sort of flushed out in all the communications that we're doing is a part of being business friendly is really having really tight relationships with a lot of the major employers that we currently have. And I do think that it's a valid endeavor to focus on upscaling. There's a lot of very good employers in the region of Peterborough County that, it's important that we know where they're trying to go to maintain the existing employment that we do have and potentially grow and support those already, rate paying and employers in the communities that we have to maintain them. And so I think it'd be helpful to, and it may not all be public information as well. So there might be some, obviously confidentiality and future reporting to council in a confidential and respectful way. But I think it would be good for all of county council to understand, and a good worthwhile endeavor for our economic development in-house to sort of have a bit of a report about some of the major employers and their immediate future needs, so that whether it's all of the municipalities or just those specific to where those companies are located, that we're all aware of how we can support them as much as possible, both at the county level, but also at the lower tier level as well. And I think that would be a very helpful initiative that I know with our in-house economic development people, there's some of that, but it's not always the focus. It's a lot of more inbound question responses, and we're aware of a lot of the market conditions that we have sort of limited abilities to influence. But having that conscientiousness and awareness of what the immediate future needs are going to be, whether it's real estate or whether it's simple, other adjustments or second locations and things like that. When I was serving as the county rep on the chamber, it was one of the studies that was presented to us was how Canadian businesses are about 35% worse at upscaling than their North American counterparts. And I really think that's something that we can grasp on and might be something with that better relationship or improved communications with those key employers that we can really make actions on helping and supporting to continue and keep what we have and hopefully support it to grow. But I think that can well be accomplished within the plans as it's outlaid here. So I give you credit for that. And I just wanted to speak to it more specifically. Thank you.
Thanks. And if I may,
Yes.
I thank you so much for those comments. So two things. I think the main project that we're doing this year with summer students is we're going to be doing the business count survey. That means knocking on as many doors as we can to get that data. And really that's to try to flush out which of those businesses are ready to expand and move and who needs support. The other piece is it's perfect timing because we have kicked off the business retention and expansion program together with our EDO working group. And so part of that is identifying which companies with collaboration from the EDOs to say, where do we need to be focusing? And we're trying to target specific sectors to make sure that we're doing it consistently across the county so that one community isn't talking to manufacturers while the other one is talking to ag producers and then trying to meld that information. So we're trying to be consistent. So we're putting a plan in place for that this year and kicking it off as we speak.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Warden Clark. And I believe the motion was to receive the report. Is that correct? So speaking to the motion, because this is in the report, Rhonda, you and your ECDev team can only make decisions based upon the information that you have at hand. And, it's unfortunate, but according to the report, there's only 3 people participated in the survey, and you hosted 3 sessions in 3 different locations, and there was a total of 20 participants. So from those 20 participants, yes, you were given some good ideas and you're trying to base decisions based on that, but it's a pretty small sample size. And here again, it's a challenge that we always face, is how to engage the public and provide us with the information we really need to make decisions. So how that can be improved upon, I don't know. I don't even know if it can, but it's just unfortunate that that's all the input you received.
Councillor Black.
Thank you, to your worship. Thanks, Rhonda. I'm not about to give you a ED 101 course by any means. You're the expert here, but I did complete the chamber survey last week, which I thought was an interesting survey to do. But I think one of the and there's kind of and I think you've worked very well with that gray area, Community Futures, and the chamber together, making the bigger impact of the 3 organizations coming together, I think is the way to go. But one of the areas that I focused on in the survey was connecting our local businesses to understand what they do and how we might engage those businesses together. I mean, there's tons of businesses in the county that I don't really know what they do. I don't know what they produce. I don't that sort of thing. So, I mean, that would have a huge impact on the tariff issue. Again, trying to find local, provincial, Canadian suppliers instead of suppliers of the US. So I think in the business retention piece, I think that's a huge initiative that I think we should be taking. Agree with Councillor Matt with regards to the larger companies. Obviously, they have the biggest impact if they close. So having a unique relationship with those folks, I think is really important. But doing things like having some kind of a small business summit that gives 15 to 20 companies 5 minutes each to get up in front of, a larger crowd of organizations, similar to the not-for-profit one that was done in the fall, and say, this is what we do. Here's how we can help you. Call us if you need this, or call us if you need that. There's been a bit of a lack of communication, I think, as Councillor Taylor's kind of indicated, between the business community. So I think, retention of those businesses and growing those businesses with all the impact of tariffs and everything else, I think is going to be a big issue, a big challenge for us this year. So just my 2 cents, not a lecture.
Questions? I do have the motion. Deputy Warden Sennis.
So, given the conversation, it might be prudent to amend the recommendation. And I'm just putting this out there. The staff be directed to build and implement annual work plans with KPIs to advance and support the GROW Economic Development Plan.
Revision. I'll look to the seconder. Councillor Whalen, are you okay with that revision? You're on there.
Yeah. Can you repeat it, please, Sherry?
Yes. Carrie, do you want to repeat? Oh, okay. The staff be directed to build and implement annual work plans with KPIs to advance and support the GROW Economic Development Plan.
So it just basically adding measurables to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I hear what Rhonda has to say about that? She's the one who wrote the report.
Okay, fair. Rhonda?
So thank you. And certainly there are, to Councillor Armstrong's point, there are KPIs included in the work plan that are more driven by the activities that we do have control over. Certainly in this economic climate, there are a lot of things that we don't have control over, and they may be reflected in economic indicators. However, I do support being able to report out on a more regular basis on what we're seeing in the community, so that we can collectively make a decision and see where we might have to course correct in some of our programming to address some of these volatile changes. So we can certainly put together some of those larger economic indicators and maybe try to differentiate between those that are within our control, how many events we're hosting, and tariff policy changes globally that we don't have as much of a say in, but certainly I can look into that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. It's a yes. Okay, Jim, are you?
That's fine then. Thanks very much.
Okay, so you're amendable to second that, and then I'll ask Councillor Graham to speak to the amended motion then, please.
Yeah, no, building on the through you, Warden, just in addition to the amendment, I one of the things that kind of dovetails into what Deputy Warden Sennis was saying is to me, with the urgency and the fragility of the local economies that we're going to be experiencing over the next few years, I think it might make sense to have more of a sort of a quarterly, whether it's I'm going to use the term come to Jesus meetings as a collective council, that we understand certain key issues and critical components, because, we see the minutes from the ECDEV committee, and that's really just a really high level summary of those discussions. And, I think all of us really need to be collectively focused on supporting the business community as we move forward. So, and I don't think that needs to necessarily change in the motion, but I would like with the urgency and the criticalness of all of us rowing in the same direction in this effort, I really think it would be helpful for a collective county understanding of the things that are being seen, the conversations that are being had, and just so that we can collectively support one another across the platform. I think on a quarterly basis, I think would make, I don't think more frequent would be necessary, but I think it would be helpful for all of us to be a bit more just engaged in what's going on the ground level, and whether it's things that are being done in other townships that can be implemented locally in other, that would be, I think, very helpful to the conscientiousness that we need to apply to the efforts that you're doing.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Sheridan.
Thank you, and through you, speaking for Rhonda as well, but I think we would welcome that opportunity to have those discussions quarterly, and then as necessary, if there is something that does come up, and we can move into close when we have to have those discussions about certain businesses. But I think that the commitment of council to have those discussions and to understand it is really important. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Reporting out on quarterly, we certainly can talk about larger employers, but we would not be comfortable naming any specific business. Any of the information that we collected would be aggregated in a way that wouldn't be identifiable. I think if we don't commit to that off the front, we would have a hard time having those businesses trust us and share that information. So I think that's an important piece. And on the ground, though, knowing that if there is a challenge, we will do what we can to support that particular business.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call the Sherry passed the amendment. We're not going to add the time frame into it. We're just, that's our expectation, but just with the KPIs. Okay, all in favor? And that is passed. I just want to add that I was at one of the chamber's breakfasts in OSM that the county had sponsored, and the businesses are all noticing the difference in support since we have taken it in-house in the county. So I think those breakfasts are very important. And certainly Rhonda was getting a lot of good feedback at them. So we're appreciative of the chamber certainly doing that. So thank you. Okay, we will now move to notices of motion. There are two that have been brought forward today. One from Councillor Taylor and one from Councillor Wilford. Are there any others? Okay, Councillor Wilford, you are.
Request a motion to suspend the rules and have this dealt with today. It's to deal with tar and chip resurfacing of roads with the county.
Okay.
If I can get a seconder.
It wasn't on the agenda, so you need to read it out, or I can read it out for you.
I can read it out. That's all right. Whereas retaining third-party contractors to surface treat roads within the county represents a significant expense for both the county and the 8 lower tier townships. And whereas each of the 8 lower townships owns their own gravel pits and have their own supplies and materials. And whereas the lower tier townships poses equipment and employment of public works staff capable of undertaking road maintenance activities. And whereas the purchase of such equipment could be shared among the townships that wish to utilize the machine with fair usage schedules established. And whereas Northumberland County owns and operates a tar and chip machine for their repairing of roads within its jurisdiction. Now therefore be it resolved that staff be directed to contact the County of Northumberland to obtain all relevant information necessary to compare the costs of purchasing a tar and chip machine, including materials and operational expenses, versus retaining third-party contractors for similar projects, and to bring comprehensive report back to council for consideration.
So I need a seconder. First of all, I'll look to our clerk. Do we a seconder, and then we'll need a motion separately to. Okay, so a seconder for, and I see Councillor Webb. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Now.
So now we need a motion to suspend the rules. So Councillor Graham, it's the easiest if I just do a recorded vote. Okay. So Councillor Graham.
Yes.
Councillor Whalen.
Just wait. Jen's just. You're on mute.
Yes. Sorry.
Counselor Wilford,
Yes.
Counselor Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Warden Senis. Yes. Counselor Nelson. Counselor Martin. Counselor Black.
Yes.
Counselor Armstrong.
Yes.
Counselor Burt.
Yes.
Counselor Lambshead.
Yes.
Counselor Huntley.
Yes.
Counselor Amiot.
Yes.
Counselor Webb.
Yes.
Counselor Watson.
Yes.
And Warden Clark.
Yes.
So this item can be dealt with now.
Okay. So I have a mover and seconder for the original motion, then Carrie, I just need to call the vote then. Yeah. So any further discussion or questions? We're asking for this report to look into. I see. Yes, Counselor Lambshead has a question.
I just want to make sure that we're just going to be looking into this to see what
Yes.
it costs. And is this going to be financed by the county and then shared later with all the municipalities?
I think the report is going to go into that depth to come back, the costs and then associated. And as said, if I read fair, there would be shared among the townships who wish to utilize with a fair usage schedule. So that whole report will come back before any decision is made.
Thank you very much.
All right. All in favor? And that is passed. Thank you. We will now deal with the second notice of motion. And Counselor Taylor, would you like to read that motion?
Thank you very much, Warden Clark. And the process that will be followed for this one is I will simply read the notice of motion. I will move it. If someone seconds it, it'll be referred to our next meeting for a discussion and hopefully a decision. So I'm not asking for any discussion. There won't be any discussion today and certainly a decision.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will just I'll ask you to read the motion, the seconder. Could we ask for the rules to be suspended as well for this one if someone?
I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for it.
I know, but I'm Counselor Taylor. I'm asking that if anyone else wanted to deal with it today, if they made that motion, that we could go ahead and do that as well. It doesn't have to come from the mover or the seconder.
Okay.
That's true. Okay. So Counselor Taylor, if you'd like to read.
So the motion is, whereas Peterborough County Council have continually stressed the importance of finding efficiencies within operations and staff. And whereas County Council should also look within its own structure to determine if additional efficiencies can be found in our governance. Therefore, be it resolved that Peterborough County Council approves the formation of a small ad hoc committee consisting of 3 county councillors and 1 support staff from the clerk's department to discuss the possibility of reducing county council to 8 members effective the beginning of the next term and the necessary adjustments to our committee structure to accommodate this change. That the warden selects the 3 councillors based on expressions of interest, and that this ad hoc committee bring back a report to council at the first meeting in May, giving options for consideration. That's the motion.
Okay, thank you. And a seconder for that motion. Yes. Counselor Whalen, you're seconding?
Yes, I'm seconding it, Madam Chairman.
Okay. All right. All in favor? No. It'll just come back. Okay.
I unfortunately lost my link during some of that conversation. I apologize for interrupting, but could I hear some of that motion again? Because it cut out right during the motion.
Certainly. And I'll ask Carrie to read that motion back. Counselor Lambshead.
Whereas Peterborough County Council have continually stressed the importance of finding efficiencies within operations and staffing, and whereas County Council should also look within to determine if additional efficiencies can be found in our governance structure, therefore be it resolved that Peterborough County Council approves the formation of a small ad hoc committee consisting of 3 county councillors and 1 support staff from the clerk's department to discuss the possibility of reducing county council to 8 members effective the beginning of the next term and the necessary adjustments to our committee structure to accommodate this change.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I speak to that just for 1 second?
I've got Counselor Amiot, and then I'll come back to you, Counselor Lambshead.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I
Okay,
interrupt?
yes,
So there's no discussion on the motion today. It's going to be put on February 18th, unless the rules were suspended to discuss it today.
okay, so can you speak to that, Counselor Amiot? Are you?
If I may, because
Yeah.
I would like to speak to it today, so I would actually like to put forward a motion to suspend the rules of procedure, or to consider that so that we can actually discuss it today.
Okay, is there a seconder to that motion? Counselor Nelson? Okay. Now, would you like a,
Can I do a recorded?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to start with Counselor Amiot.
Yes.
Okay, Counselor Graham,
Just for clarification, this is just to discuss it today, correct? Yeah, okay, sure, yes.
Counselor Nelson,
Yes.
Deputy Warden Senes.
Yes.
Counselor Whalen,
Yes.
Counselor Black, Counselor Wilford,
Yes.
Counselor Lambshead,
Yes.
Counselor Martin, Counselor Huntley,
Yes.
Counselor Burt. Yes. Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Armstrong,
Yeah.
Counselor Taylor,
No.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Warden Clark.
yes,
It's carried.
okay. Now, Counselor Lambshead.
I don't know if Counselor Amiot might have been before me for a question as
Yes.
well.
You can
I
go first,
will-
Terry.
I will speak to what I have for my own personal view of this. This has been brought to council a few times, and I do realize we're trying to find efficiencies, but as a mayor and sitting on county council, my time is completely filled. I would not have room to sit on more committees, which I think we have more committees. I know Deputy Mayor Armstrong sits on a few at county level and a few at Trent Lakes level. And without that support and that ability to have other members sit on committees, I could not possibly do this job. It's a full-time job now, and I don't know how I can make it a full-time job plus a half. So that is my opinion. Thank you very much.
Yes, excuse me, Counselor Amiot.
Yeah, I do echo what Terry has said, because we have had this discussion off and on, I think through strategic planning. And I think it was recommended to the Finance Committee to look at too for budget purposes. So, and I'm on the same page. I mean, we definitely have all different size plates, but I think all of those plates are full, so it's all relative. I think that I'm not sure where the demand or the need for reduced representation it comes from. I think county council is pretty efficient. And yeah, we have upwards of 25 committees. You would have to look at that whole scenario, because I know many of us are on a lot of committees. I think it's important to have 2 representatives from each municipality, provides consistency and support if one is away. And I also think that, like right now, I look at, we have a deputy warden who is currently, or like a deputy mayor who is currently the warden, pardon me, and doing a great job, by the way. I think reducing county council to 8 would make finding, someone to take on the responsibility and role of warden even harder, because I can't imagine how you do it now, Bonnie. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that, if we want to make this decision now, or maybe that's something that can be put forward to the next term of council. But I do think it would certainly limit and hinder folks if they, if they were considering running, knowing how much is already on our plates anyway. I think it's working quite efficiently the way it is right now.
I have Counselor Armstrong and Counselor Martin.
Thank you, Warden Clark. I have in the past been vocally supportive of reducing the size of county council, which would eliminate me. So I recognize that put me out of a job. Part of the motion was to look at restructuring the committees in such a way that it could accommodate the span and capacity of the number of counselors and also the importance of serving on those committees. So I agree with looking at it again. However, I don't think now is the time. I think this needs to be rolled over to the next term of council. So I think it's wrong process, wrong timing, but certainly worth exploring. I do think we could be more efficient with fewer people. Fewer people get to talk. I'm not sure that we actually do get that many more perspectives by having 16 people talk to something than 8. So I really don't see any downside as long as there is a restructuring of the committees to accommodate it, which was in the motion. But again, I don't think this is the right time, and I don't think it's the right process. It needs to go. It needs to have further information supporting it. Thank you.
I have Councillor Martin, then Councillor Taylor.
Okay, so I totally agree with Councillor Armstrong. I brought this up 3 terms in a row. I totally agree with the concept to look at it. We did talk about it at our strategic planning session. I think that's where it came forward this term, and it didn't get any interest there. So I think the timing right now is this should be put off to the next term to bring it up again. And like I say, I totally agree with looking at the concept of going to 8 from 16, and I've been pretty vocal about that, but the timing isn't right. It should be the next term to, if the council of the next term wants to look at it, put a committee together, look at, pros and cons, and see what you come up with. But right now, I just don't see where it should be done right now. The timing is terrible.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Warden Clark. I certainly wasn't prepared to speak to it today because I didn't think that was going to be necessary. But I'll try to bring it from some of the information I dug up over the last couple of weeks. Whether this could work. Certainly, county council could function with 8 members. There's no question about that. Whether it's to our advantage to make it work or whether we want to is a whole different conversation. But it could work. If it were to be forced upon us by the province, we would make it work. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. I don't think it is. But if that were the case, because it has happened in other municipalities, it would make it work. The reason I know we can make it work is there are a number of other counties just within close proximity to ours. And I'm going to go from memory here. I'll try to give you an example. Northumberland County, I believe, has 7 lower tiers. They have 1 representative from each lower tier. They have 7 county council members. Hastings County, if I'm not mistaken, only has 1 member per lower tier on their county council. However, they have 17 lower tiers. So, but they make that work, 1 each. There are a couple of other counties. It's interesting. They have 2 representatives per lower tier on their county council, but they only have 4 lower tiers. So we can make it work. Northumberland County makes it work. I know we could too. Again, I just don't know if it's to our advantage. I think we have talked about this, but all we've ever really done is talk. We've never really taken a deep dive into it to look to see how it could work, or even if it could work and how that might happen. The committee structure is a big one. I'm convinced that there's a number of committees there that we frankly don't need. I think we could eliminate. And a couple of others, and I'll give you one example that I'm very familiar with, is Land Division. Land Division has 5 county council members on it. That can't continue if we went to 8. You couldn't have a committee with more than 4. Land Division it's got a different name in a number of other municipalities, but it's often occupied by members of the public who are trained in the terms of reference for what the committee requires. There's other examples. We could make it work if we thought it was to our advantage to do so. I think the timing is, I think the last year of the term, the second last year of the term is when it has to be done, because people who are considering putting their name in for election this summer for either mayor or deputy mayor, they need to know whether they will be required to be a part of county council or not. So if this is done, we need to advise people, so if we wait till next term, if county council waits till next term, then certainly I don't think it's possible to make a change until the term is over. That's not reasonable. But the change now, to make the decision now, the only people who know that they will be back are those members of county council currently who are deciding not to run. Everybody else doesn't know if they'll be back or not, so they don't know for sure if this is going to affect them. That will depend on the outcome of an election. So that's my comments. Now, if county council just decide that this isn't something they want to either tackle now or never, accept that. I'd like to. I think we should, but if we decide collectively it's not in our best interest to do so, fair enough.
A list. Thank you. I have a list here. Councillor Black, Councillor Huntley, Councillor Whalen, but I'm going to just, and Councillor Graham. Okay, so 4 to speak to this. There has been a report done in finance that we did receive, and was that January, February of last year?
The finance committee did receive a report. It was October of 2025. But county council received a report from the subcommittee, the governance structure subcommittee that was created from the OSDR. That was last term of council. And that subcommittee did look at the composition and the committee structure.
So just Councillor Black.
Thank you, through Warden Clark. You know, as a productivity person, I'd never say no to looking at ways of managing costs and doing reports and so on. I'm not sure the timing is right after we've had due consideration a couple of times in this term of council. You know, one of the things that, you know, that I've come to understand my first term on county council was I spent 2 terms as councillor at large in Smith and Smith and Ismore Lakefield. I had no idea what went on at county council technically around committees and how workload and those sorts of things. So sitting as deputy at county council has given me a great understanding of what goes on at county council, the workload, and you know, if it were to be only the mayor, that sort of succession planning piece wouldn't be there. So somebody brand new running for mayor and having to jump into county council and understand all of the aspects and all the learning that goes along with what I've learned over the last 3 years from all of you, I think is an important part of why this council works so well together. When you look at other local councils that don't have that ability, you've got fresh individuals running into a situation where they don't understand the job, and it takes them 2 years before they have any effective, you know, input into it. You know, I believe going to, and if you asked me before I joined county council whether 8 makes sense as a productivity person, I'd say probably yeah. I've somewhat changed my mind on that now, because I do believe the increased workload would just be an increase in cost per member too. I'm not going to repeat what other members of council have already said, but I think just like the city has doubled the cost of their councillors and wages for the mayor, that eventually would happen here because you're inviting a different type of person to run. It becomes a full-time job from a salary perspective, and you lose those individuals that are putting their hand up to work for minimum wage for a commitment to helping the community and working for the community. So I think it creates a different type of person that would want to run for those positions. And it also may deter good individuals, younger individuals who have a job from coming to take a senior position in a local council because of the huge commitment at Peterborough County Council. So again, I'm not against certainly looking at it. That's part of my approach to things in life. I'm just not sure the timing and the amount of time we have left in this term to make a good decision on it. And I would leave it to the next council. Thank you.
So I'll just read the list. Councillor Huntley, Councillor Whalen, Councillor Graham. Okay, Councillor Huntley.
3.
Councillor Watson.
Through you, Chair. I do agree with a lot of what Councillor Black has just reiterated. You know, serving on council for a number of years, for my local township, really didn't have a window into what was going into other townships. And I think that's massively beneficial, and having more than one you come to a county council, it just adds perspective. I mean, Matt and I don't agree on everything, and that reflects sometimes the county council, and that's, why we're here and what democracy is built on. That said, I also, we were on the finance committee when those reports did come forward, and we approached them with an open mind, trying to figure out whether this was the correct way to propose and bring forward. And I think, we agreed, that report was very well written, and if anyone needs to rehash it, feel free. But I mean, it really outlines everything that we've been discussing, and if we just seem to keep discussing it, and nothing, I don't think anything's changed since that report has been written. So if you want to bring another report back, just go review that one. It's already done. It's already been prepared. Anyway.
Thank you. Councillor Whalen.
Thanks a lot, Board. I'll be very quick. The timing, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but that's for council to decide. But I sat on county council when it was 36 members, and we went from 9:30 in the morning until sometimes 6 o'clock at night. So it certainly became a lot more efficient when we went to 16. Whether we'll get that much more efficient at 8, it's hard to tell without a report. I think that 8 people to manage or to have on council in the township of in the county of Peterborough is ample. So I just think it should be looked at. That's why I agreed with Joe to second it, because there's nothing wrong with taking a look at one of these things. And everybody has mentioned little things like how many committees and so on and so forth. But without a report on it, we're really all just grasping at straws. But the only thing that I'm not sure of is whether or not the timing is right. And that's up to county council to decide.
Thank you, Councillor Whalen. And just so everyone is aware, I think there's a bit of confusion around whether there has been a report on this, and there has. I'm going to ask the clerk to send that link out to all the members on county council to have that report, because there is a report there, and I think there's some confusion around whether we've done a report or not. So please ask Carrie if she could send that link so everyone can have that report. Now I have Councillor Graham, Councillor Watson, and then Deputy Warden Senes.
Through you, Warden, thank you. I understand the mayor. I don't necessarily disagree that with the timing argument. I think, you would have to, if you're going to implement it, you would have to do it now versus later. But I agree. I don't support reducing council for a lot of the reasons that have already been said, so I won't replay that. But it isn't a cost savings, because there were costs associated with having to require more time of the fewer individuals. So there's no cost savings. And it just puts a far greater burden, and there have been reports, and I've seen them. So it has been looked into. It's not a cost savings. And the insinuation that 8 is more efficient than 16 is only in number. It's not in output. And if I think this council works very well at aggregating the 16 perspectives and the analysis from staff, and without the value of those 16 perspectives, as someone mentioned, it's far less than minimum wage. When you think of the hours that are put in for the 20,000 or so, stipend that we get to work here, it's not minimum wage, it's half. So there is no better deal from a labor output that you could ever possibly get.
So Graham, you are defeating people running.
I'm just letting them know the reality of the paycheck. So we'll be coming in with quick eyes, because I'll tell you, and that's changed a lot since I first ran. So I can tell you that. But I do think there is no more efficient investment that the county gets back than it does from the 16 perspectives and the effort and the time and the hours of reading that are required to do this work, let alone the committees that are also a part of that. I think we do very well with decision making from an efficiency standpoint. So the timing, you're still going to have meetings, you're still going to have debate. You'll just have fewer voices and fewer minds. And quite, as we talked about to Rhonda's report, we need as much quality and content and input to make the best decisions for the entire region as possible. Having fewer minds doing the heavy lifting that we do around this table is not providing a better output. We need as much as everyone can give. And I think this council has done a great job in combining those with all of the differences of opinion that exist, and we know them. And we all get along very collegially. And I think that's a tribute to how effective we are as people, but how committed we are to the output of the collective benefit that we all share. And, you know, I'm sure there are lots of councils out there that aren't running as effectively, don't have the collegiality that we do. We all hear about them in the news every day. But I think that there is a consensus with the amount of and the size of problems and issues facing Peterborough County. We need all hands on deck, and having fewer minds to contribute to the best decision making possible is not going to improve the efficiency and the impact in the communities that we need. So for all the other reasons that have already been stated, I also agree with those, but I don't have any issues with the consideration. But again, it has been done. So it would be inefficient to relook at something that has been investigated on and talked about ad nauseum. And I have yet to hear an answer about how it becomes more efficient. The insinuation is that it will cost less, but it won't. And that's what those reports sort of speak to. So I appreciate and understand the intentions behind it, but I don't support it at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Watson, then Deputy Warden Sennis. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. Through you, I appreciate the sentiment that comes behind the motion in terms of trying to find efficiencies. My question around this, the whole conversation, is who's really asking for this? Because in all of my years as a voter, I've not ever heard the argument that people want less representation. Certainly they want cost-saving measures put in place. Certainly they want less bureaucracy. And we see that in the conversations that we have at our own council tables as well at this council table. We're trying to reduce costs. But when it comes to reducing representation, that's something that I believe the voting public don't ask for or don't want. And quite frankly, they want the opposite. I will look forward to seeing the reports come forward, the links that will be shared. But when we're talking about cost-cutting measures, and I agree with many of the points that have been made, so I won't reiterate them. But I think as council, there is a good opportunity to look from within beyond cutting the size of council, whether that's looking at moving more meetings to virtual. So we're cutting, reducing mileage expenses, or we're reducing the number of people that we're sending to conferences, or the number of people that we're paying to go to conferences, or looking at the wellness fund, that and maybe council decides to trim that from their budgets. And I remember seeing something around parking that came forward, that maybe we start looking at paying for parking. I mean, these are all nominal things that we can do and we can look at. And if the finance committee looked at those, I'd be interested in seeing that as we look to the next budget discussions in the future council. But at this time, I can't support the motion as it is, because quite frankly, I know residents are looking for representation and not reducing that. Thank you.
Through you. I think that I agree with the majority, I think, of the colleagues that have spoken for all the reasons they've given. One thing that hasn't been talked about is the workload that the warden has. And if you end up having a mayor who is also the warden, I'm not saying that can't be done, but there's only 8 people. And we are dispersing, having all of the 8 people with the committees, whatever they might be. I think it would be too much of a strain on a person to be, or it shouldn't be expected to have one person do that extra work. Because I believe that the role of the warden has changed even since I've been on county council over the years, and the warden is more involved with what's going on in the province, and the advocacy work that is done is much more than it was in the past. So I think if we end up looking at a smaller council, we may also
be looking at electing a warden rather than choosing one from county council to be able to keep the workload. So it would be 9 instead of 8. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
All right. I think we've certainly gone around the table. Carrie could ask from Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Warden Clark. And just to wrap it up, and I mean, I can see which direction this is going, and that's fine. I accept that. But just as a information, and it's kind of curious, amongst other county councils, it's not always the mayor and the deputy mayor. When there's 2 representatives sent, and I don't know why it has to be here. It doesn't. Well, it doesn't clearly. That's just a policy that we have. But other counties send the mayor or deputy mayor and another representative. It can be one of both. Could be a councillor. And so these are just some things that I've discovered. I think as far as political representation goes, 8 people can represent, what's the population of the county? 64,000, something like that. 8 people can represent 64,000 people just fine. We've got 1 MP and 1 MPP, excuse me, representing over 100,000 people. We'll set aside the argument of how well they do it, but anyway, I don't appreciate the fact that we had to discuss this now. That was never my intention as a move for the motion. I wanted council some time to think about it, get more information such as this link that Carrie sent that I'm not going to have a chance to read before we vote on this. So I don't like the fact that we've rushed this decision forward. I certainly would have appreciated waiting until our next council meeting, which was the intention and the usual process for a notice of motion. Ultimately, the decision would have been the same. I think I accept that, but I feel that that this is being forced when I didn't intend to do that.
Councillor Whalen.
Thank you, Warden. Sorry, Sherry, during your talk, I was reading the report from Carrie. I think you should all read it because I think it puts things in a nutshell. And Matt, you're dead on with a lot of the stuff that you said with it. So there's it's a good. How about you?
Thank you, Councillor Whalen. Councillor Amiot.
Yeah, just to respond to what Joe was saying, the reason I asked for this to be considered today is I unfortunately am not going to be at the next meeting. And I feel strongly about it. And I know, as I said, we have discussed it in the past. I don't think, as I said, I think there's more than enough clearly from the folks that have spoken today. Like, we've all thought about this long and hard over the times that it's been brought forward before. So that's why I brought forward that, because I really felt it was important that we deal with this right now today, rather than put it off for 2 weeks. And maybe, who knows, maybe it still would have been the same decision then, but hey, we're here now.
So I'm looking for a motion then.
Oh.
Okay, okay. Recorded vote. Is it? Yes.
Okay, so the motion is, whereas Peterborough County Council have continually stressed the importance of finding efficiencies within operations and staffing, and whereas County Council should also look within to determine if additional efficiencies can be found in our governance structure. Therefore, be it resolved that Peterborough County Council approves the formation of a small ad hoc committee consisting of 3 county councillors and 1 support staff from the Clerk's Department to discuss the possibility of reducing County Council to 8 members effective the beginning of the next term, and the necessary adjustments to our committee structure to accommodate this change, that the warden selects the 3 councillors based on expressions of interest, and that this ad hoc committee bring back a report to council at the first meeting in May, giving options for consideration. And it was moved by Councillor Taylor and seconded by Councillor Whalen.
Okay, so recorded vote.
I don't need one. I don't think we need one.
Okay.
I don't need.
You don't want recorded.
I think I'll be.
Okay. All right. Okay. All in favor? Lost. Okay, lost. All right. Okay, good discussion. So, does anyone have any announcements? Yes, Counselor Martin, Counselor Burt, Deputy Warden Senes.
Yeah, in Havelock on February 14th, Havelock Fire and Ice is going to be holding their day of winter carnival. And they're going to have some, the fire circus there again and medieval sword play along with ice lantern walk. And it's a little, I think it's a little downsized, but, we did order good weather for that day. So
It's
yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I know. So
Very good.
anyways.
All right, Counselor Burt.
Thank you. And when you are done going to the Fire and Ice Festival that evening, you can go to the Celebration of Agriculture in Peterborough County dinner at the Lang Heritage Building. 6 p.m. is a social, 7 p.m. is a dinner. I do have tickets here. If you would like them, let them know. You likely won't have the cash on you, but we can figure that out. So, and again, that's February 14th after you've attended Havelock. Thank you.
Okay, you know where to find the members.
Yes.
Deputy Warden Senes.
Thank you very much. So the Polar Fest that we had this past weekend was a resounding success. And thanks to everybody that came out. And I just wanted to let County Council and staff know the results of the Pop Tab contest. Northumberland beat us by 200 pounds. We collected 480 pounds of Pop Tabs, which is a lot of Pop Tabs. And beer tabs, I guess. And Northumberland collected 660. So all I can say is they drink a lot more in Northumberland. You don't have to wear a sweater at some point, so.
Okay, you just, I was saying you don't have the sweater on today, Deputy Warden.
I haven't given it to
Okay. Counselor Watson.
Warden, thank you. Through you, the Olympic spirit is alive and particularly in Doe-Dummer, where Doe-Dummer Library will be hosting a series of watch parties supporting Team Canada curling. So some of the key matches, Canada versus the US, is happening on this Friday, the 6th. So there's a watch party at the library then, as well as on Saturday, Canada versus Great Britain. And then we have the bronze medal game that's happening on Tuesday, the 10th. With a watch party at the library. Of course, we don't know who will be battling that one, but hopefully Team Canada will be in the gold medal party, but we'll have that going on as well. So everybody's welcome to come on out and celebrate the Olympics and some curling in Doe-Dummer Township.
Okay, very good. And I have the pleasure to announce that the County Recognition Awards, the nominations are now open. We do these awards every 2 years to celebrate exceptional people, groups, and organizations within the county. So anyway, please get those nominations in. We encourage individuals as well as each of the members of our lower tiers and upper tiers. So there's a wide range of categories from accessibility to agriculture to business leadership, volunteerism, acts of heroism. And I think that having it every 2 years, that this certainly lifts up the extraordinary members that are, I would say, people that we have living in our community. So please get those in. Nominations are open until March the 2nd. And awards are on May the 14th, and they will be held in OSM Awesome Township this year. So please get those nominations in and help us put a spotlight on those exceptional individuals. Thank you. All right, bylaws, and I'll ask our clerk to list those.
Okay, we have 4 bylaws on today's agenda, and the first one is to delegate the authority under section 275 of the Municipal Act to the CAO. Bylaw 2026-02 is to adopt official plan amendment number 83. 2026-03 is to establish a tax policy and levy property taxes for 2026. And bylaw 2026-04 is to authorize the entering of a grant agreement with the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Okay, I'll ask for a mover for that, and Councillor Lambshead and Councillor Burt, all in favor? Thank you. Our confirming bylaw mover and seconder, Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Martin, all in favor? Thank you. And adjournment. Councillor Wilford, Councillor Huntley, all in favor? Thank you.